This week, Star Citizen Alpha 2.2 goes live. Jared talks music with composer Pedro Camacho, and we go behind the scenes with the orchestration of Star Citizen's soundtrack. All this and more on this week's Around the Verse.
Back during the start of the campaign, so you will all receive that, and there will be provision to change your address and do all of those good things, so don't worry, you won't miss out if you already got one. And if you would like one and did miss out the first time round, let us know on the forums. Maybe we can start a thread and see how many people would like one.
It's pretty good. It turned out very neat. Check it out.
Check it out.
And happy birthday to Wing Commander 4, which turned 20 years old this past month, February. Sandy actually pointed that out to me in an email last night. He was like, oh, we got a Wing Commander 4.
I did. I was looking at Mark Hamill's Instagram, and somebody in there said, oh, this was way back when I was playing Wing 4. And then I asked Chris, and I said, when did Wing 4 launch? And he said, 1996. I said, well, it's the 20-year anniversary. And of course, Ben knew the exact date, and here we are.
So this was Chris's last contribution to the Wing Commander series, and it goes above and beyond in everything. It was a 6 CD-ROM game full of full motion video with Mark Hamill, Malcolm McDowell, John Rhys Davies, sort of like Star Citizen.
Thanks, guys. On this week's ATV interview, we're sitting down with Star Citizen music composer, Mr. Pedro Camacho. Pedro, how you doing, man?
Mister, hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me here.
No problem, man. We wanted to get you on the show for a long time. I honestly don't know what took us so long, but I'm glad we're here. I'm glad you were here.
Well, I think there are more people that deserve a spotlight than me, to be honest. It's a really large team, and everyone is here really super talented and really dedicated to this project that we're doing. Really, we're making some history here, I think, and it's been great. So I'm just one of them. So thank you for finding some time for me.
No problem, man. I think the hardest part is that, because the community team is so LA focused, it's hard for us to get stuff from, the other studios worldwide and you. For instance, why don't you tell people where you live? You live on an island, don't you?
Yeah, I live in Portugal, in an island in Portugal. It's Madeira Island. It's a really nice, inspiring place. It's we have really great weather here and really great nature, and also technologically speaking, it's also pretty much advanced. We have everything that anyone could need. I've got all the movies that goes any cinema down there. Actually, internet here is fantastic, actually, because curiously, I've met several people in U.S., you name it, many countries that have really lousy connection and difficult. Right here is really good service, good quality of service. So really, it's very nice here. So to make music, it's all you need is have the right idea. It's just
well, it sounds perfect. I'll be over in a week.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I will invite you in the end of the show to become here. I'm serious about that. You wouldn't be the first, so please do consider that. It's really great, and you will be well treated here.
Well, if we do our job right, while you were talking there, we put some pictures up of your island, so people will see how beautiful it is.
Yeah, well, if you put pictures from nature, they may seem that I'm like a lone guy in the middle of the jungle. No, so just kidding. No. Okay, there's some good pictures from here.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning here. We did a inside CIG with you years ago, but we've gained several 100,000 Star citizens since then. Let's introduce you to everybody. Who is Pedro Camacho? Who are you?
Citizen of the world and Earth. Now, my name is Pedro. I've been doing Star Citizen music for quite a long time, since mostly since the project started. It was a very curious moment to me. I actually mailed Chris because of a funny thing that happened to me. And this is a bit personal, but I'll just ask. I think it's okay to me to say it. I heard in that day, I knew Star Citizen was being done. I just love, I was a Wing Commander fan. I was just, this was a perfect project for me. And I remember us playing Wing Commander with my father, which has died a long time ago. But, it's a very personal thing to me, very, really, really personal thing. And he loved Wing Commander as well. Wing Commander 1, he could only see Wing Commander 1. Anyway, when I heard for the first time the heartbeat of my son, he was still in my wife's womb, he was still not born. I heard it for the first time in the echo, I was like extremely happy that day, like really, really happy. And I thought, you know what? I'll just email Chris and let him know. I didn't tell him about this lousy story, otherwise he'll just close the email. I was very, precise to the point that, hello, my name is Peter, I would like to do a lot of work for you. Like he probably got thousands of emails. And I did that. And for some reason, in that same day, he heard it. He read it and he heard the stuff I just said, and he liked it. And so that's how it started. And so he gave me some. The first work I did was the 300i commercial. It was a moment that I think this funding in Star Citizen was kind of stalled at that moment. Kind of it grew a little bit, but then it was kind of not going too far away. We were still like struggling. And it was an amazing team. We had Hans Appel doing the cinematics. All the team that we had back then was a really talented team doing 3Ds and models. Chris Roberts were really, so we created like a very small group in the end, which was me, Chris, Hans, and like a small cinematic team. And I remember that was basically my first, my first big test. My first big test. We have to cut.
Are you being invaded?
I'm being invaded, basically. We made that. So that was my first opportunity, basically, my first public opportunity. I remember Chris gave me a temp track, which was really one of the best movie tracks that we had recently in cinema back then.
What track was it?
I'm sorry?
What track was it?
Oh, good question. It was from Man of Steel. One of the tracks from Man of Steel. It was a really, really great track. So, and I did and a completely new thing, of course, but Chris really liked it. I remember he saying when I sent it, he said he completely forgot about the previous one, which is really one of the best things you can hear from a producer, because usually the temp music is something that has been with them for a long time, and it doesn't happen every time. After that video got publicly released, funding from Star Citizen really ramped up a lot, and then I scored Aurora commercial, and then the Hornet commercial. Besides doing some stuff for the game, the first they nicknamed it launcher music. It actually was a piece I did initially with another thing in mind, because back then it was kind of stuff for eventually for Squadron 42. It was not really very. They didn't even know very well what it was going to be used for, but they used it in the launcher, so everyone was very nice to me. I remember being a bit afraid that if can do whatever you want and maybe the Chris would like it, but will people like it? They were fantastic, really, really very supportive people. A community really is really supportive. We have a great community. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this game is we have really great guys with us, and that's what makes it worthwhile for us to be here. And at least for me, I can tell you, I don't do music to get praise. I do music because I'm passionate about it. But knowing that people are out there waiting for it makes me want to question myself every time I do something, and I say, "Is this really good enough?" There are people that they're placing their own money to. It's kind of different. It's kind of different. You get like the feeling is what they're placing in the project. Is what I'm doing to the project worthy of the effort they have? Some people are wealthy, and this is little effort for them. I know most people that place money in the project are not. It's from their savings. That's something that you should always have in mind. People that they have to make options in life, and they did an option to support us. So we have to do our best, not just good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something.
Absolutely, that's never far from any of our minds every single day.
Oh, I know.
It's the people have put an amazing trust in us and an amazing faith in us, and that's never far from our minds. So that informs every action, everything the community team does, everything the designers do, the artists do. It's we know who we're working for.
Oh yeah, and I feel that from Chris always. Chris is very, very sentimental about, hey, did you see the From People to Planets video last month? That in December, that was crazy good. Could you imagine that? I was blown away when I saw it. It was very lucky for me, a honor for me to score it. And thankfully, people also enjoy my music. So basically, that's it. That's what I am for Star Citizen. I've been doing like all this, mostly since the start.
What influences your music? Like what have you seen and experienced in life that's influenced your music that you're composing for Star Citizen?
That's a great question. As a person, I look at Star Citizen as a way to go back to childhood, like kind of a way for that. It was always sort of my dreams. I used to look at the sky and imagine what's out there, and it would be so cool to see the stars and travel through them. So that's one part that I bring into Star Citizen. Another part is definitely movies and games that I played, which one of them was Wing Commander, but a lot of movies as well, because in the 80s, mainly, I was born in 79, so 80s was really important part of me. And, movies like Star Wars is obvious because everyone knows that, of course. But there are plenty of other great movies, Last Starfighter, Aliens. Another movie as well, like Gremlins. Oh my God, these are such great movies with a certain sci-fi. Oops, sorry, I touched the mic. Sometimes it doesn't have to have spaceships. Gremlins was a great new movie. Movies where melody was like Queen or King or however you want to name it. That's also something I try to bring back I want to give Star Citizen make a sound that has a certain melodic identity. You can feel the passion in it. I want not too over the top, but that you can feel actually, you're playing and say, yeah, Jesus, that's that's good. That's what I want to bring in. Yeah, probably that. My music is very influenced also, classically speaking, and many composers, and lots of them from Renaissance. I love Renaissance music, and I base a lot of my harmony, etc., from there. Like Josquin de Pré, stuff like composers people usually don't hear a lot. And then, of course, like classical composers like Beethoven, Mozart, and some people that some of them came later on. We're talking about Messiaen, Ravel, Debussy. I like the French school a lot. Not so much the Wagnerian, probably. A little bit Frenchy style, Frenchy kind of touch in terms of classical. It's that's what I like. I really like that. Of course, I spoke about Beethoven. I love Beethoven. Who doesn't? The Ninth Symphony is probably one of the best stuff that ever happened. And well, I can tell you, I live Star Citizen in such a way that when we were in the last orchestral session we had last week, and we were in Central Europe recording a fantastic orchestra, like huge size. Really, I actually had some tears coming out of me during when they were performing one of the Arena Command theme that I did, which is my homage to my old sci-fi. It's not actually the kind of sound that I want to bring into Star Citizen, but so yeah, that's just it. There's a lot more, but it's very difficult to explain.
Absolutely.
It's very difficult.
Absolutely. Well, Pedro, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a little bit with a behind-the-scenes look at how you actually make the music. So, folks watching Around the Verse, stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute.
If someone were to ask you, what is speed? What would you tell them? Is it simply a measure of distance covered over time? The magnitude of velocity? Or is it something more? At origin, speed is more than a number. It's a state of being. Speed is a shock to the soul. Speed is a call to action. Speed is introducing the 2943 300i from Origin Jumpworks.
And we're back. Now, on this week's ATV Behind the Scenes, we're here with Pedro Camacho, and he's going to take us on a brief behind-the-scenes look at the recent scoring session and some of what came out of that. So, Pedro, welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hope you enjoyed your break. So, you just had a scoring session like last week. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a crazy amount of work. So we did a lot of new battle music, actually, but also we recorded the Arena Commander theme that some of the backers might know already, because a MIDI version, not very final, kind of went through and to the game. It was actually part of the launcher for some time. And now we actually record everything. And it was, it was great fun. It was really great fun. A lot of pages I really, in the end, we had I don't know, but probably near 800 pages of music. So there was a lot of music. It was a lot of music and very little time to place it, because you're always trying to correct things and doing things better.
Absolutely.
And so that was very cool.
How long did you guys record? How many days?
We recorded for 2 days for now, and we'll come back in April and record another 2 days, and so on. I believe. I'm not sure. So
Gotcha. And where
as much as needed.
Okay. And where did you guys do the recording?
It was in Bratislava, so in Slovakia, and it was a great orchestra. By the way, it was one of the best. We initially used one orchestra in Czech Republic, which was also really great. This one was is an orchestra that has been used and by the same fixer that has done a lot of big film and game soundtracks. And actually, when we were going to record, it was the previous day they were recording something for Lego, which is also Lego Star Wars, I believe. So something like that. So you can see it has a really great orchestra, really large orchestra. So really good whole, really good, really the top that you can get in the world right now. Some of the top, yeah.
Cool.
Really great.
Well, I understand you've got some stuff you can show us.
Oh yeah, sure.
The fruits of your labor.
Yeah, I thought about sharing with you is just as quickly as possible a little bit of how the process is done. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just what I'll just share my screen right now with you so you can get an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it right
Yep,
now.
we see it.
Okay. All right, nice. So this is kind of one of the screens I have. I have several screens. I have 3 screens. This is just one of them, and it's full HD for you so you can see it. So when you compose something, you actually first you make like a MIDI mock-up so that people like Chris, mainly Chris, actually always has a final word in each music I do. Also Lee Banyard, who's the audio director, and ultimately all the audio team, because we all work in a team. In a team, because the team is what makes something work, not someone alone. But to make it a really good template, so you need to have all the instruments in orchestra and non-orchestral stuff, like you've heard from People to Planet music, which is very hybrid and stuff. And then it ends more like orchestral. But so I've got in both libraries with many instruments for orchestra. Let's see if I can try to play some of them. Just a second. This is one of them. So there are many. This is an oboe. There are many kind of oboes, many kind of sounds. Trumpets from both public and private libraries that I've done through time. And let's see if that. Something like that. This is horns, etc., and goes down to strings, for example. So this is actually a private library that I own, that I've been using for starters. It's very very good and very, very realistic. So we create that, which is already really realistic. We show it to Chris, and Chris says, yeah, this is great, let's put that in the orchestra. So if we put that in the orchestra, if it's accepted, which usually is, then we have to make the scores. And just to get an idea, I'm looking at here, okay. Yeah, for example, here it is. So I create the full score. I use a notation program to actually write all the notes. This is a lot of pages, as you can see. Just this one is 59 pages, because you have to do every single instrument in your orchestra, full score, then you have to edit every part for each guy in the orchestra to see just their part. This is actually the Arena Commander theme, as you can see. This is open. This is not the best PDF viewer, but okay, that's what opened there now. I'm not going back. So that's it. And then after that, you get, you go to Bratislava, like we did, record the full orchestra playing. You'll see some videos about the orchestra doing some stuff right now, so you can get a sense of the scope of that. And then you get the audio back from the orchestra, which has a lot of mics. It's just a couple of them, but there are a lot of mics. And then when you actually get them, you can mix and do, and hear some of them. You can hear some seconds. This probably you hear this more completely in the soundtrack that you should pre-order, of course. That's just a very small taste of that, so you can hear that. This is actually a theme that means a lot to me. It's like sci-fi, like an old school sci-fi homage to the scoring of sci-fi movies that Chris felt it would be really good to have in Arena Commander, like as if Arena Commander was like kind of a time machine in terms of music, maybe. That was something really cool to be done. So it seems very fast in here, but it takes some time to do it. But it has to be done pretty quickly because there's a lot to be done. And that's it.
Well, that was astounding. I love that thing. A little behind the scenes. Pedro sometimes shares his music with me early, and he shared that with me like the day after that was recorded, maybe 2 days after recorded, and that was when it was, this is so amazing. I need to get Pedro on the show so that it's an excuse to share just that little bit with people. so thank you
very
so
much
for coming on the show, Pedro, so that I had a reason to share just that much with people. Pedro mentioned the Star Citizen soundtrack. That's in production now. We're putting that together with the folks of the UK audio team and Pedro. And you said there's possibly another scoring session in April.
Yes, there's another scoring session in April where basically we have a lot of music that is already sounding, in my opinion, pretty well. Like the music you heard in the commercials, for example, that's one of them, the 300i, which is, I like it very much. That was all done. Unfortunately, there was no time back then because that was it was in MIDI. So there was not a live orchestra that you heard. So for the soundtrack, this is something that I know many people are sharing the tracks around, and there's a lot of stuff, people have been taking out of the game, placing it on YouTube. But for the stars in the soundtrack, we will have all that music actually performed within our orchestra as we promised. So we are recording everything. So there is no MIDI in it, except some synthesizers for a hybrid track, which is the usual. Yeah. But the core orchestra sound is actually live persons that are performing it and giving their also passion into it. And then all that stuff will be mixed in one of the best mixing studios in the world. So not what you've been hearing in the game so far have been temporary mixes. So hopefully it would sound, I'm pretty sure it would sound a lot better. So we'll get, I want people to have, that's my goal, and that I want people to have that CD in and actually enjoy it outside the game. Just enjoy it to be, have a good moment. We're trying to make the CD as as broad as if it was kind of a story that's being told. And so it's not always battle music, which is kind of really good to be hearing in a game. But in the soundtrack there can be some examples of it. But if you're just hearing battle, it's kind of like okay. I don't know if I want to hear that every time I want to hum, but probably we'll have a much improved version of the star map music, for example, because which is one of the stuff I like. Very simple, but I think it's very soothing. I like it. I like to hear it personally. I shouldn't say good things about my own work, and it's very sad. Very sad. I'll
share another behind-the-scenes story here. Pedro sent me the star map music about a week or two before the star map went live. That was about a week, actually. It was just a couple of days. I was in the middle of the CitizenCon slight where I hadn't slept. I was 8 hours sleep in 5 days, cutting together the various videos. And he sends me this, and he goes, listen to this. Does it sound good? And I listen to it, and I'm like, Pedro, it's awesome. It's always awesome. And he goes, yes, but I need you to listen to it for 8 hours. Do you remember asking me to listen to it for 8 hours?
I remember that.
I need you to listen to it for 8 hours and tell me if you get sick of it. And I did.
Exactly.
And I did. And I didn't do it with headphones either. I unplugged the headphones and I made everybody in the community team listen to it for 8 hours. And they may have hated me, but it did not get. We did not get sick of it. So that was a true testament.
That's a great sign. After 8 hours, hearing the same thing and not get tired of it. That's also very another good aspect of game music. Is something that has a lot of repetition. So you shouldn't be too boring after a couple listens. So some hours is always a good stress test. So I will have some soothing music like that, music that is a lot melodical, and of course there's Arena Commander theme will definitely be there, like in the end as a homage to our backers. So that track to me at least is like a homage to our backers, because I don't know if this is true. Maybe there's a lot of young people with us, which is great. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people around our age group that are born in the 70s, 80s, and have this world of 80s culture, and this is kind of our tribe to that. And I really hope they enjoy it. I really hope so. We're doing our really best we can to make sure it's not. We have more music. We can't put everything there. At least right now, I'm pretty sure there will be extensions. I'm not really sure. But my goal is, if I can have one CD, maybe the soundtrack will have more, maybe can have two. But if it is one CD that I can take to a car or something, now we probably use more USB sticks anyway. But okay, if there is I prefer to have, this amount, like 1 hour of music, then I go through I travel to a place and I just enjoyed the experience. That's what I would like the soundtrack to be.
I have no doubt that's exactly what it will be. Pedro, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us on a Saturday, get this recorded. We'll let you go get back to your family. And
that's fine. Thank you.
Right.
That's perfectly fine. It's a pleasure. It was really a pleasure to speak with you. And thank you to your team, and to every backer that's out there that has been placing trust in us. You can be sure that we are doing really our best we can.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Pedro. Chris, Ben and Sandy, back to you guys.
Well, that's music to my ears.
All right, moving right along. It's time for this week's MVP. Ben, the envelope, please.
Dun, da, da.
Wow, we have one. Yay. And the winner is Imperial News Network, INN. Congratulations. INN does a lot for Star Citizen. But did you know that in addition to putting together transcripts for Star Citizen about CIG's broadcasts, they also provide closed captioning for those same videos on YouTube?
Yeah, the great thing about INN is they remind me of the Wing Commander fan site I ran back in the day. You know, there are plenty of amazing Star Citizen fan sites out there, but these guys are one of the ones that goes above and beyond, and we wanted to honor them in some small way this time. So thank you, INN, and you're transcribing this right now.
Well, they can't because we talked over each other.
Who will know what we said?
And now it's time for this week's art sneak peek. On Around the Verse.
They actually had a print ad campaign for Wing Commander 4 where they advertised it was coming out December 8th, 1995, which was an 8-month development cycle since Wing Commander 3. And like a lot of Chris Roberts' projects, it was a little bit later than intended. And I just remember that being the longest 2 months of my life. So when our backers are waiting for a ship or a feature that isn't out yet, I totally understand where they're coming from. There was actually a DVD version of this game. It was the very first PC game released on DVD, which has high-res video instead of the super compressed Zan movies that came in the original release. And that's the version that's on GOG if you want to check it out. You see a lot more of the sets than anyone ever intended. Now, if you have a copy of Wing Commander 4, you can actually tell what edition you have based on a small typo on the front of the box. If you look closely here where it's supposed to say biological, the first print run, the first day release, say biological with a G. So that's your trick for identifying Wing Commander 4. I don't know if Chris knows about that.
Don't know.
And the interesting thing about the Wing Commander 4 manual is it's largely an excerpt from the novelization, which came out almost a year later. But there's all these details that are totally different from both the game and the finished printed book. The class of ships changes, the names of the characters change. I've done some close... Wing Commander 4, everybody.